Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 184. We were originally going to do this discussion about a week or two ago after a friend of the show submitted this idea. I think Josh will have to give clarification as to who that was in a little bit. But then we talked about how MCU Phase 4 sucks. So we're coming back to it this week of bad movie endings, but not only bad movie endings, how we would have fixed it. Because, we're professional writers here. We're clearly smarter than people that are actually paid to do this. Just kidding. Writers, we still respect you a great deal. And some of these movies we actually like, but it's the endings that don't either stick it completely or they could have been improved. So this is just a fun little exercise for us of kind of half list, half fantasy booking. So that kind of merges stuff that we already talked about on the podcast. But Josh, how you doing tonight?
Living the dream, my dude.
Oh,
we're back
bad,
on
huh?
that. As I say at work all the time, living the dream. I mean, probably not my dream, but somebody's, I'm sure.
I love the age-old meme of just like, a white guy's having a bad day when you ask him how he's doing. He says, "Living the dream." That's white people speak for "I'm dying inside."
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, I did before we got on, I am having a bad brain day, legit. I was supposed to pick my brother up from what I thought was school, and I thought it was at 2:30. Yeah, thought it was at 2:30. It was ended up being at 2. So I went to where he normally is for school, and nobody was in the parking lot. So I was like, I'm picking you up from school, right? And he's like, "Josh, it's July." No, I'm at work. Oh, yeah, I'll be right there.
Now I'm just picturing a nearly 30-year-old man in a school parking lot in the middle of July. Somebody's going to be on the phone just calling him, "Oh, God, the Johnson boy's at it again. Stranger danger. Yeah. He's got the mustache and everything."
Oh, okay. But still, yeah, it was definitely it's been a bad brain day all day today, but it'll be what it is, and it is what it be.
I guarantee you, though, even on your bad brain day today, it's got to be better than some of your concussion days back in the day. That was a very different brainological person right there of Josh.
Brainological. We're coming up with words now.
Brainological should be an actual word. Brainological sounds right. Like shrubbage. That's an actual word, McKinsey Hubachek. Suck it.
Oh, shrubbage. Nothing like a good Monty Python meme for me.
That's an actual, it should be a word.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure. Anyway.
Are you watching anything that's not shrubbage and or other small children in school parking lots?
Jeez.
Off to a great start.
Oh, dude, this is peak Uncharted Media right now. I watched a couple documentaries this week. First of all, that's
I know. It's just a hard pivot there. I'm not surprised that you're watching a documentary. It's just that it's a hard pivot to watching kids watching people in a school parking lot too. I watch documentaries. Josh is getting old.
Yeah. Well, not as much of a hard pivot as I'd like it to be. One of them was a black hole documentary about when they finally got actual pictures of a black hole and how they had to interpret the data into creating a picture and stuff like that. It was super cool. I find space so fascinating. So I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I love this. And the other one, and I have no reason why I flipped this on. I barely listened to their music. But I watched the Blackpink documentary. For those who don't know, Blackpink is a K-pop group. And I see memes from that, in little videos from them, on reels and stuff like that all the time. So I was like, oh, well, let's watch it and see. I mean, it was cool. It was very fascinating to find out about all this stuff about a group I have no emotional connection to. But it was really interesting to see the behind the scenes stuff for what goes on for these companies that create K-pop groups and stuff like that. So that was really that part was more fascinating for me than the actual getting to know the group and stuff like that. But yeah, that was weird. That was a weird choice of mine.
Eclectic. That's Josh's
Yeah.
word for the day and to describe his
Yeah.
documentary tastes. I watched two things. Both things came out this year, which I can't remember the last time I watched like multiple things all coming out that are like new releases. So I went to the
Mhm.
theater and saw The Black Phone, the new
Yeah.
Scott Derrickson movie based off a Joe Hill story. If you didn't tell me Joe Hill was Stephen King's son, I could still absolutely see that from the story of it. It very much feels like a Stephen King story. It's really, really good. Not particularly that scary, at least not to me. There was like one or two pretty decent jump scares, but nothing like this director's Scott Derrickson also did Sinister, which has one of the most horrendous jump scares of all time with the lawnmower. There's nothing to that
Love it.
level in this, but it's definitely a tense thriller. Ethan Hawke is fantastic. The child actors are outstanding in this movie. Really, really good time. I'm happy to see it doing well at the box office. But the other like sleeper hit in terms of like box office and critical reception this year that I finally got around to watching was Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is the most balls to the wall, insane movie I could probably have seen in quite a few years, possibly ever. This movie is absolutely nuts. It starts off kind of slow, but there's a fight scene that kind of kicks off all the major action and the major storyline, and after that point, I'm just going, I don't know what's happening, but I can't look away. And by the end of it, you're like sobbing, just going, I have felt the circle of life. I have felt everything there is to feel, and I am shaken to my core. Like it's a movie that makes you feel happy by the end of it. It kind of makes you feel a little sad, makes you feel a little existential. Like they're just like in all this vast multiverse. What what impact do your choices have? Nothing. But still make them because it makes you you. And I'm just going, oh, oh gosh. But it's absolutely insane of like it's a multiverse movie to the fullest extent. I know Jamie Lee Curtis was talking smack about Doctor Strange before seeing this because they came out around the same time. This is actually a multiverse movie that takes bizarre risks. So in order to like tap in to your multiversal power or your multiversal self, you've got to do something super, super bizarre. When the most normal thing that someone does to activate their multiversal power is eating a stick of chapstick, you know you're in for a ride. Like he like pops it up. I think he's gonna put it on his lips, and he just straight up eats the whole bar of chapstick. I'm going, oh, but then you got another grown man doing a cannonball with no bottoms. He's Winnie the Pooh in it onto something to give himself powers. I'll just give you that mental image. It's wild. It's like if Deadpool actually had something relevant and important to say to the human condition. It's so hard to describe this movie, but I cannot recommend it enough. At the same time, I don't know if I can recommend it to people. I can recommend it to Josh because Josh loves insane movies, and I think he'll get it. But this is definitely one of those movies that you will either get it or you won't get it. It's a beautiful movie. It's an insane movie. That's all I can really say about it, I think.
I mean, I've been looking to see it for a while, and didn't have time when it was in theaters, unfortunately. So, but now that you've seen it and it's gotten your glowing review, I absolutely will have to check it out. I vividly remember you sending me a text that a certain actor deserves every award we can throw at him from here on out.
So, Michelle Yeoh is the main actress in this, and she's phenomenal. But her husband in the movie is played by the same actor that played Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And he is so good in this movie. I need him to be in more stuff now. He is so good in this. Everyone's fantastic, but I need more Short Round in my life now.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, and like I think I remember him being in interviews and saying like he saw what was it, Crazy Rich Asians, and like seeing some of the Asian representation that's been coming up lately in movies, and was like, wow, I could actually get like a job as an actor nowadays. That's awesome, and I'm gonna hop back in there. And like so he does. I'm like That's so cool. I love seeing people who left the industry at a time when they didn't feel like there was enough like viable jobs for them, and now they can come back and just that's so cool. I'll definitely have to check the movie out.
Now let's get into some news, as I want to say I'm surprised by this, but at the same time, I'm not. So for weeks and months leading up to the release of the Disney Plus series Ms.Marvel, Josh and I repeatedly joked because it was the one show that we felt like this is probably not the show that's targeted for us, and that's totally fine. We'll probably skip this. We might come back to it at a later date. But you watch, guys. This will be the most important show the Disney Plus has ever done, but because we didn't watch it, well, guess what freaking happened? It ended up being the most important show that Disney Plus has ever done. Now we gotta go back and watch it. Supposedly it's excellent. Like, it's the highest rated Marvel anything they've ever done. Awesome. I've seen some clips. I think I would really like it, so I'll go back and watch it eventually. But why is this important? Spoiler alert. For the people that have not seen Ms.Marvel yet, that includes us. We're just going to go off of what we've seen from the little clips that have basically poured over the internet, because if you haven't by now, I'm sure you've seen the news, which is why we'll talk about it now. Last spoiler warning. Ms.Marvel has officially introduced mutants into the MCU, and all of us are just going, this one, this show, this project, Ms.Marvel, the Inhuman in the comics, which we'll get into that in a little bit here. The notoriously inhuman character, which I'm not as pissed about that as nearly as some other people. This smaller show on Disney Plus is where you introduce the biggest detail into the MCU thus far. Okay. This was a choice. I mean, to a certain extent, we had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but that was multiversal. That was a different universe's Professor X. That was a different universe's Mr. Fantastic. Or is it? But now we have confirmation that mutants exist in the MCU, with one of the characters saying there's something wrong with your genes or something different. You have a mutation. And then, as if that wasn't just a tease, people be like, well, they could have said any word. The mutation is just a word. They do that right after going, oh, so every time anybody says mutant or mutation or something adjacent to that, we're going to get the classic X-Men theme, to which I love seeing all the memes already about people just going, here's Cyclops, here's Wolverine, here's Jubilee. And here, no, Jubilee does not get that. Here's Dazzler. Moving on. We don't all have winners. But Ms.Marvel. Now, I know some people are already mad. They're just like, well, in the comics, she was an Inhuman, and this is erasure for Inhumans. First of all, I get you, but the general population doesn't give two squirts of piss about the Inhumans. That's neither does Kevin Feige. He got burned that badly that he's just going, screw you all, no Inhumans. But also, to all those comic purists out there, the creator of Ms.Marvel has straight up said, we always wanted her to be a mutant, but Ike Perlmutter, the dick that he was back in the day, the guy that was in charge of the company, that division at least, when Kamala was created, vetoed that and forced her to be an Inhuman because they weren't making X-Men comics at the time, because they're just like, well, Fox is making X-Men, so we can't have X-Men comics, because Ike Perlmutter was a dingus, and I'm glad he's not in a position of power anymore. There's a lot of horrible stories about him. Ike Perlmutter is also the reason why it took us forever to get a female-led movie in the MCU, because he was just a dick. So Ms.Marvel was always intended to be a mutant. They just shut that down, so now they're kind of retconning their own decision. This was a choice. I'm still kind of processing how I feel about this, but Josh, mutants are in the MCU. Now kicking off from Ms.Marvel of all things.
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. I think personally, with how, to me, the X-Men starting in the most smallest and unlikely of corners for the MCU makes the most sense to me, because at its core, the mutants story and the X-Men story is not about superheroes. It's about people dealing with things that are different from the normal experience. So it's like, I'm okay with that. Absolutely. I kind of am glad that they saved this for her and not some threw something else into the multiverse of madness. Because could you imagine if they were just like, hey, yo, and this teleport girl is also a mutant? And it's like, cool, but she's from a different universe. So what does that do for us? So, yeah. But it's cool. I'm down. Sure. Why not? I'll be interested to see where we go from here, I think is the thing. Where we go from here will be just as important as them being like, let's like throw this in. I will say my one thing about this is, while the reasoning and everything like makes sense about why her, absolutely, yes, she was the only reason, one of the only things giving like the Inhumans any kind of relevance in the comics. But guess what, the Inhumans aren't relevant today, so now she's a mutant. Totally okay with that. I mean, it's not like the MCU hasn't gone off script before when it comes to comic book accuracy. And have we complained before? Not really, honestly. But to be fair,
we haven't complained before
about lack of comment. Okay, you know what? Leave me alone. I say that knowing that there's something in our discussion that I'm going to bring up. But yeah, the one thing that's hard for my the back of my brain, the little pessimistic part that's like scratching a little bit, and it's like, the only reason they made this move was so that we have to watch Ms.Marvel. And I really hate that that's a feeling that I get, but given the current state of Phase 4, I don't think that's that surprising of a stretch.
It's weird though that this one, that they kind of build as the smaller scale show of like the not as much stakes, kind of like Hawkeye, of smaller stakes, not world ending. This is the one that they introduced the earth-shattering revelations. It's felt like the most recent Marvel projects is, you have to see the next Marvel, whatever it is, because this will be where the big revelations are revealed. Like we expected in the Multiverse of Madness to kind of be this multiverse shattering, huge, everything changes now. The status quo didn't really change a whole lot after Doctor Strange.
Correct.
Same thing with WandaVision we expected, but nothing's really changed the universe, but they keep advertising it. Whereas Ms.Marvel, they never advertised it to change the universe, and in reality, it actually ends up doing that. So I think in that regard, it's pretty cool. I will say though, I do find this timing very interesting and incredibly well played out, because this finale aired, what was it, last Wednesday, basically a week ago from when this episode comes out. Just a week and a half later, Comic-Con comes out. Weird. That's so weird.
Crazy.
That's so weird that Kevin Feige introduced mutants in the MCU a week and a half before Comic-Con, in which case, they haven't announced any future Marvel movies yet. I wonder what something that they could announce at Comic-Con might be. I wonder.
No. We're going to Secret Wars. Sorry. No, all the mutant stories, they are not existing anymore. They were just going straight to Secret Wars. So anyway, yes.
Anybody tried turning off Josh, turning him back on again? Just reboot it.
No, nobody's trying to turn me on and off again. Anyway,
segue out of this before we start digging ourselves into a hole there.
Yeah.
I think the timing was very intentional here, of like, we got to make sure we get Ms.Marvel out before Comic-Con. And there's been some discussion about like what will actually be revealed at Comic-Con. We'll talk about that in a news topic in a little bit here. I'm not expecting as big of a Comic-Con as some other people are, because D23 is a thing. But I'm expecting some reveals. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something mutant related soon, potentially by the end of this week. But I think this is cool. I like that it wasn't over the top. Everyone's freaking out because it's mutations and they played X-Men theme. But as Kevin Feige is known to do, it was a small breadcrumb first before anything else. He plays the long game for better or for worse. It's agonizing to watch at times, but at the same time, I know in the long term, I appreciate that more. We whine and complain for a lot of years about what they're doing with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and then we get out of No Way Home and we're going, we're sorry! You were right! You had a plan! Or we waited for...
Kind of.
What was it, like 6 to 7 years to finally hear Avengers Assemble? We're going, why are they not pulling the trigger on this one line? Oh, they're waiting for it to actually have relevance to the story and feel like a big cathartic moment. Oh, that makes sense.
Kind of, yeah, sure. Okay.
That actually makes sense there.
I will say that is the one line from Endgame where I was like, I love that he's finally said it, and it's cool, and it means a lot in this moment, but it doesn't actually, like, it's kind of confusing if you take more than 5 seconds to think about it.
Yeah, because I love
they're
the
already
memes.
assembled. They're already here.
They're already assembled, but also he whispers it. So I love all the memes that it's like Iron Man next to Black Panther, and you're just like, what did he say? I think he said charge. Go! Because like Thor immediately yells after it, just like Thor is the one that actually charges people in the back. But whatever. We've got mutants. Finally, so now the question is, like, how is everyone else gonna be here? Like, were they here the entire time? Did something happen with the blip that caused mutants? Which I kind of hope is not the case, because we need some mutants to exist for a while, like Professor X or Magneto, I think would be great. But this is clearly a step towards big things, and again, do find the timing to be quite coincidental that it happened right before Comic-Con. Not saying anything will be announced at Comic-Con, but I wouldn't completely rule it out just yet. Now, jumping across the pond from Marvel to DC, we've got a latest Batgirl update. I feel like we haven't talked about this at least in a little bit.
Yeah.
But now it seems a little bit more likely that Batgirl won't be coming out this year. Not surprised there. And it'll instead be coming out next year with a little bit of a caveat. So I think it was a UK theater chain was posting that Batgirl has now been delayed till 2023 for a theatrical release, to which all of us are just going, say what now? Does that apply to everyone else? And I think the people involved with Batgirl said it was delayed, but they didn't specify whether it would be a theatrical release or not. I feel like we've talked about this before. This is not surprising in the slightest, because The Flash got delayed. You kind of need The Flash to come out before Batgirl comes out, because even the directors would be like, yeah, we didn't really know why Michael Keaton's Batman was here and J.K. Simmons' Gordon was here, but these were the pieces we were given, so we don't really know how The Flash makes everything happen, but we just know we have to come out after The Flash.
Interesting.
Yeah, this movie has to come out after The Flash. There's so many big details whether The Flash comes out in theaters or not. That's still
it's a big question there.
That's a whole separate conversation for another day. But Batgirl, it's like there's a lot of critical information that will confuse people if it comes out before The Flash. That being said, when David Zaslav and company took over and made Warner Bros. Discovery, they said all of our movies going forward will be theatrical releases. Yeah. I assumed Batgirl was part of that. And also, you brought back Michael Keaton's Batman. That is a theater movie. But most importantly, if Dick Grayson is going to be the end cameo, I need to see that on a big screen. I need to lose my vocal cords more than I did with J.K. Simmons returning as Jay Jonah in Spider-Man Far From Home. And J.K. Simmons is in Batgirl. So Illuminati confirmed Nightwing is in it, because connect the dots, open your brains, people. It's all connected in the Nathan Wishlist world. That's what we live in now. You didn't get an invite, but you live in it now. We're getting Nightwing in a Batgirl movie confirmed. Follow the logic, people.
You didn't get an invite, but you live in it now. That's the quote. That's the quote for the rest of the week. Oh my gosh. I saw this on our list and I was like, yeah, so Nate's gonna bring this back to Nightwing. There's no way that he doesn't.
Batgirl's gonna be in the movie too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's got her name on it. But to be fair, maybe DC's taking a book out of Marvel's chain and doing a character movie, and some other character's the main character of that movie, even though their name is not on the title.
Flash.
Anyway, multiverse. Yeah. So some things have to happen in Flash if that movie ever comes out. The whole Ezra Miller situation, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So we will see what happens. Yeah, but like getting it delayed for a theatrical release, yeah, absolutely. If we're going to see Batgirl in the theaters, that means Blue Beetle's on the way to the theaters as well. Even though I'm pretty sure they already confirmed that.
The Blue Beetle is not only is Blue Beetle coming to theaters next year. How do you feel about this news, Josh? Blue Beetle just finished filming.
Like, so you're saying that there's the potential for a trailer?
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Batgirl also, I think, has to come out in theaters, judging by, again, none of this is confirmed. This is all speculation. But
Correct.
Given how much stuff that this Batgirl movie sets up in terms of what the new DC landscape is, supposedly there's a lot of things that could potentially be spun out of the Batgirl movie. Besides the sexy man who shall now no longer be named for obvious reasons, because we don't want to beat that dead horse again, but supposedly that might get spun out. There's rumors of Black Canary potentially getting spun out of Batgirl. I'd imagine something Keaton related. Supposedly Batgirl hints to a larger universe, and if that's the case going forward, obviously you want to have that as a theatrical experience. And also, I know the general population isn't familiar with Batgirl, but there's still at least a little bit of name recognition of if you put a cartoon version of Batgirl or any kind of version, even to the most casual person, to be like, that kind of looks like a Batgirl or is a Batgirl, because I think they left an indelible mark in the 60s Batman version. I think it's one of those that people are familiar with it enough that I think curiosity might be piqued. And I think it'll all come down to that first trailer. And you just show the beautiful, handsome face that is Brendan Fraser, and people will flock to the theaters just going, Brendan Fraser is back. Break out that TikTok song and bring that Brendan Fraser is back.
Like, and not just back as a villain. Like, oh, baby, let's go.
Speaking of, this is completely unrelated, but I don't even care. Speaking of Brendan Fraser is back. One of the greatest theme park rides in history, the Mummy Ride at Universal Orlando, underwent refurbishments recently. And it's looking pretty likely that a certain Brendan survived the refurbishments and will still be in the queue. And I'm just going, he got his cup of coffee!
Yes! Because I remember like you talking, this is a total rabbit trail.
I don't care.
But still, like, there was actually like a really sad day. I remember you texting me and be like, bro, they're refurbishing it and they're going to get rid of Brendan. And I was like, oh no, because that's like actually one of the coolest parts of the ride. Well, not, yeah, that's the coolest part of the ride. But yeah, so that's awesome. But I think, to me, the thing that might potentially get spun out of this is the thing that I have been wanting for a long time, and I think some fans have wanted, just like the daydreaming of it.
An Oracle movie.
Is having a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, which is like, yeah, okay, absolutely. Like, Michael Keaton is a grumpy old man. I mean, yes, in real life, but also yes, in Batman.
So, next up, moving from DC to Nintendo. You know,
love it.
The next door neighbors that they are. Apparently, in typical Nintendo fashion, they sat back and watched their competitors actually test the waters first, and then when the waters are completely safe and secure, then they jump in about 5 to 7 years too late with something. And by that, I mean Nintendo is getting themselves into the movie business with animated features. They have acquired Dynamo Pictures, a production company, an animation company, and rebranded it Nintendo Pictures. So I'm assuming going forward, they'll be utilizing their IP to do more film projects by jumping off of the success of, quote-unquote success, they've had one movie so far, of PlayStation Productions with the Uncharted movie, the upcoming Last of Us show, the Amazon God of War series. I think it's Amazon, right? I
haven't heard anything about it, so
I love Nintendo, but I also love making fun of Nintendo because Nintendo's great until you get older and you realize, wow, they really are behind the curve a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
keep waiting, guys. Maybe Nintendo someday will do something 4K. I remember when they're just like, "Hey, we've got the Wii U. It has HD," and we're all going, "Are you kidding me? It's got this big cumbersome tablet, but don't worry, it's in HD now."
And like, what was it, like last year they came out with the OLED screen for the Switch?
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, if you want a nicer looking Switch with like a few centimeters bigger screen, yes, it's clearer, but does it actually make any difference? It doesn't matter. You're gonna pay us anyway. Like, okay, whatever, cool.
But an animation division for Nintendo. What's the potential you see there, Josh?
Super Smash Bros. Movie confirmed. I'm going there. I don't even care. But like at the same time, like the potential for a Legend of Zelda movie is finally in there. A Star Fox movie is going to be out there now.
You know, the one movie Josh has been looking forward to more than any other.
I hate you. I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
Don't set me up for it.
I can't. Oh my gosh. But Star Fox would be so cool. That'd be such a cool movie.
We can see Slippy die.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't kill Slippy, it's a missed opportunity, honestly.
It's one of those like Netflix choose your own adventure stories, and you could choose to let Slippy die, like you did with that one movie.
They do something like in Space with Markiplier, but in Space with Star Fox, and you could choose to let Slippy die. And for some reason, everybody goes with that option. But I think there's a lot of potential there. These days you capitalize on nostalgia. But if you do it in a smart way, I mean, there's all kinds of potential to make some really cool and interesting films and make some good content, especially with Universal coming out with a park here soon. Just give them more rides, you know?
Which they're making some fast progress on that park. Holy crap.
Yeah, baby. I'm so ready for that park. Oh my gosh.
Me too. But you know, in typical Nintendo fashion, they're going to make a whole bunch of animated stuff about the same 4 or 5 characters and then completely neglect everyone else. They'll be like, all right, we've got the Mario movie coming out, and we'll tease a Super Smash Brothers movie at the end, which is something we joked about for a while. Then we will make a PG-13 CG animated Metroid movie. That could be great. And then we will have a Yoshi's Island children's show. You want something F-Zero related? Screw you. No, you don't. Throw Captain Falcon in Super Smash Brothers and nowhere else. Donkey Kong? Nah.
We don't acknowledge F-Zero. There's like a cursed, like canceled pilot of an F-Zero show somewhere, animated show from like the last 10 years. Are we going to do anything Kirby related? Nah.
No,
not
Kirby
at all.
sucks.
Yeah, Kirby sucks. It's not like we came out with a new game for him, and then we have another new game that's Fall Guys style that's going to be coming out. No, that's not going to be a thing. But I think the Metroid one is, I think, the one that I'd be the most excited for. I mean, I obviously would love for it to get R, but like a hard PG-13. I'm okay with that. But like a Metroid in general would be just, gosh, would be so cool. I would love Metroid Prime. He's got the tinfoil hat thing going. I can see it in his eyes.
Dude, a freaking Luigi's Mansion movie? Oh my god, like take my money.
As a horror comedy? Oh my gosh, as like a horror comedy? Yes, like let's like Tucker and Dale versus Evil style, but with Luigi in a mansion.
Yes.
Bro, let's go.
Yes.
Especially like if it's Luigi voiced by Charlie Day.
Yes.
Like,
and then
God, let's go.
And then at the end, the big bad could be Boo, like a giant Boo. Like, I need a Luigi's Mansion movie now, like real bad. Or like
that's hilarious.
Legend of Zelda, I don't know. Ganondorf was already terrifying enough with Super Smash Bros., but do something with Ganondorf. I'm trying to just go make a Ness movie. Gosh dang it! I'm going through the entire Super Smash Brothers lineup. Just Mario versus Dr. Mario, the movie. Take the blue pill.
They do a Punch Out movie, but they literally just take all of Rocky and superimpose Mac's face onto it.
Oh, Ice Climbers. It's a hard R drama of one of them dies and has to fight without the other.
Bro, okay, but like honestly, like that'd be like a hard R Ice Climbers.
one
That's like
gets
a
left
disaster
behind.
style film.
Like Lone Survivor with the Ice Climbers.
Oh, but like even like a Donkey Kong film could be a lot of fun. Bro, oh geez, I just lost it. Bad brain day. What's the game with Banjo Kazooie? There it is, a Banjo Kazooie movie. Let's go. Or just a show in general. The Adventures of Banjo Kazooie. Because if JonTron can hate it, we can love it now.
So our last thing that we want to talk about today, it's not official news, but San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend. And let's just be honest, the past couple of Comic-Cons, due to, world-ending circumstances or other situations, have kind of sucked. But this year, the major studios will all be at Comic-Con promising their own stuff. So what we wanted to do here is do stuff that's going to be incredibly dated within a few days. But why not? We'll capitalize on a very small window that this video might be actually relevant. So we're going to make our predictions for what we think will be announced or what will be showcased at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. I think there's some easy layups here and some stuff that might be more out there, but that's what we like to do here. We like to take big swings and even bigger misses. Tom Hardy's Wolverine.
Which I for those listening, I said there was a guy that did like a Photoshop of Tom Hardy as Wolverine. I was like, I saw the title of the article and was like, bro, clicked on that so fast and then promptly screenshot and sent it to Nate and because I was so disappointed. I was so sad.
But as much as
I
I
make
make
fun
fun,
anymore.
as much as I make fun of Josh for his Tom Hardy Wolverine, we will always give him credit for correctly predicting the Static Shock thing. So
hell yeah, it was awesome.
Marvel and DC both have said that they're going to be there, I think, with two drastically different presentations because, one company doesn't have to hide one of their major tentpole movies coming out next year and pretend it doesn't exist and hope we all forget about it. But before we get into the Marvel and DC stuff, I've just got some general other stuff. So Thursday, the Dungeons and Dragons movie is presenting. It's like the thing that's going to kick everything off. I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Advertising a D&D movie at Comic-Con, that makes sense. So if there was a layup to be had here that I could probably still miss because it requires athletic ability, it would be this. I think Comic-Con will debut the first trailer for the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I think that's either winter this year or sometime next year. I think no better way to kick off Comic-Con by having a Dungeons and Dragons trailer. Dune 2 or Dune Part 2 just started filming, I think like either today or yesterday. So I expect something from Dune 2. Maybe a video message from Denis Villeneuve just saying, hey guys, it's hot as balls over here, but we're working hard for Dune 2. More
There's sand
Dune
everywhere. I hate sand.
We just brought in Darude. We just brought in Darude to do the soundtrack. That's a very obscure reference that anybody born after 2000 will not understand, but I don't care.
All right, dude, I see you.
And now everyone listening to this is going to get stuck in their head. Lastly, for just generic non-comic book stuff, I know it's not coming out until Christmas of next year, but at the Warner Brothers panel this year, I think we'll get a teaser or at least a little snippet from the upcoming Timothée Chalamet Wonka movie.
Ooh, true.
Because that's been done filming for a very long time, and I think they're really high on that movie, and that's why they pushed it to next Christmas, where it has a little less competition. So I think we'll get a little, since it's a year and a half away, not a ton, but just a little snippet, maybe our first official look at Timothée Chalamet in the outfit.
Well, didn't they debuted like a teaser or something at the
maybe it's CinemaCon, I think
at CinemaCon or something like that.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be surprised if they have.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they have like at least a teaser trailer for us for this. It's going to be released at Con. I doubt like a full length trailer just because we haven't had a teaser yet, but like definitely getting more at the very least some behind the scenes stuff. just more, and maybe an interview with Timothy, but who knows? It'd be cool. It is one of the movies that like of the non-made like comic booky properties that I am pretty excited about.
What general predictions do you have? Do you have any besides Marvel DC stuff?
Nah. I mean, I'm expecting some Disney Pixar stuff, but that's not like, that will probably more likely happen at D23. I don't think we'll get much else out of them.
Okay, so what should we tackle first, Marvel or DC?
Let's get the tough one out of the way. Let's talk about DC.
DC, the stuff that's confirmed is that they will be presenting Black Adam and Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods. That's the confirmed stuff. I could also feel pretty guaranteed telling you guys there will be zero anything from The Flash. They will completely put their head in the sand and ignore The Flash completely. The Black Adam Shazam 2, guarantee you for both of those movies, we will be getting trailers. Mm-hmm. Also, just a last minute alteration I'll make here. I wouldn't be surprised if those panels go back to back and Dwayne Johnson crashes the Shazam 2 panel.
I can see that.
I'm still around. I want to fight Superman someday, because he clearly does, because that's all he talks about. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just like comes up behind Zachary Levi at some point on the panel and just be like, "Hey, buddy, just saying hey," and then leaves. Just leave it there, type of thing.
I can see that.
I think because they have officially wrapped filming on it, we will get our first official image of Xolo Maridueña in the Blue Beetle costume. I think we'll get our first official whatever for Blue Beetle, whether it's like a quick tease or just official images, whatever. I think we'll get something Blue Beetle related, potentially something Batgirl related, because that's been done for at least a little bit, maybe just a teaser snippet, or official image of Michael Keaton in the new bat suit, which is supposed to be similar to Batman Returns, but yeah, I think we'll get something Michael Keaton's Batman related. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not expecting a ton of big revelations on the DC side. I would like to say so, but with the new management over there, I think they want to like calm the waters and get the lay of the water, so to speak, before announcing any big projects. You watch. Because I'm not saying anything, I'm putting it on record now. Because I'm not saying anything about a potential Nightwing movie, it will get announced this weekend at Comic-Con, being spun out of Batgirl. Because I'm not saying it officially, or because I'm not saying, quote unquote, wink wink, I'm not saying Henry Cavill will come out on one of the panels for Black Adam or something. I'm not saying that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, which means it will happen because I'm saying it won't happen. That's my reverse psychology here. It won't happen. But I think DC wise, it'll be a good panel, but I'm not expecting a ton of surprises, just because maybe some Aquaman footage. But again, that one's still kind of far out too. I'm trying to think if that's done filming or not. Mara-less Aquaman footage. Yeah,
apparently she's her role has dramatically been reduced in the film, which I'm super down for, honestly. But you don't want to say it, but I will. I'm saying they're announcing at the very least they're going to announce a Superman movie with Henry Cavill coming back. I'm not going to say title. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to say they're going to announce it and walk away. I'm expecting some, like, at the very least, like one of those behind the scene teaser things for Blue Beetle. I'm calling it. They're going to be announcing that of like a start filming date or something for Static Shock. And I am going to announce, I think they're going to, and I can totally see The Rock showing up, honestly, at the Shazam 2.
I could see Rock showing up to a couple different panels, just being like, "Hey, I'm the new face of DC now. The hierarchy of DC has changed," or whatever else. Throw in a wild card out there.
There you go. You know me. I love the wild cards.
I think we could get some Zatanna casting.
Ooh, Oh, don't tempt me. Do not tempt
Zatanna's
me.
been on the back burner for a little bit, but as far as we know, that's not a project that's been shelved. That's still something that's been like quietly in the works for a while. So whether the director comes out or they officially make an announcement, if you want Josh and I to lose our ever-loving minds, they will never do it because we want it so bad. If they cast Ana de Armas as Zatanna,
Ooh, no. You know what? As much as I would love that,
Alexander Daddario,
I don't think she's the one. I just
she is the one. Like Jet Li is the one. Jet Li is playing Zatanna.
You know what?
Jet Li is Zatanna.
Times I think the amount of times I see people put The One on their worst movie ever list, it makes me so mad because that movie is such a treat. Come on. There's a
just
one
because
of
it's
the
a treat doesn't mean it's good for you.
Pain. Pain is existence. Yeah, I could see Santana comes out playing a guitar. That's how they announce it. Like, yeah, now presenting Santana. They bring out Santana to announce
He's
Zatanna.
playing Zatara. Oh, this is going off the rails.
No.
And you got any other DC stuff?
Not really. I think we're pretty safe on DC because I like you. If they're either going to completely ignore Flash or they're going to bring it up very, very like lightly, and it'll be like, hey, like, you know, this is still coming out, and that's about it.
They'll be like, The Flash, starring Michael Keaton, Sasha Calle as Supergirl. That's it. Cersei Clemens as Iris West.
Nobody else involved. Yeah.
Nobody else involved whatsoever. So for the Marvel stuff, this one's going to be tricky. But the next Marvel movie to come out is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We're going to get a trailer and some other stuff for it. That I feel like that's almost guaranteed. But how much they show, that'll I think will be the prime focus. But then they'll shift to what's coming next. So I expect the Black Panther trailer to come out at Comic-Con. I expect them to fully show Namor, because, you know, that stuff's already leaked of what his costume design looks like. And I think the people that were going to get mad about the changes to his appearance have already kind of got that out of their system. So I'm going, all right, we can move on. Let's get to what Namor's actually going to be like. Namor's actually a mutant. Well, I mean, he is.
No, he's an Atlantean.
Namor is a mutant, though.
Nah,
he is. So
he's got wings on his feet. He's an Atlantean.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like some of the stuff that's already filmed or is filming. We get some like quick little sneak peeks at, like maybe some behind the scenes for Secret Invasion or some concept art for Armor Wars or Ironheart. Maybe a quick little tease for Loki season 2. But then obviously the big thing, I think there won't be any official casting choices happening at Comic-Con for any of the major projects.
Yeah.
But I think the entire Phase 5 slate will be announced at Comic-Con.
I can see that, yeah,
but
absolutely.
Casting details will be announced at D23. So
I can also see that. Yeah.
I'm expecting titles at Comic-Con like Fantastic. I think the release dates will come out for Fantastic Four, Blade, the Shang-Chi sequel, and then the Young Avengers, I think, will finally officially be announced because we've been building for it long enough. And the one to close it out will be the double whammy of coming 2025, Secret Wars, coming 2026, The Mutants. I think that's kind of a given. And then also, just because it's me and I want to be self-indulgent, coming 2025, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Iron Fist.
I hate you.
I need it. I need it.
I know. I can't there's a part of me that can't.
It won't be Finn though. It better not be Finn.
No, it won't. But there's just a part of me that can't see them doing it. I don't know if they'll pull the trigger on that yet. I don't know. I can see.
Oh, Captain America 4 getting a release date too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because
Because like there's a whole bunch of
initially,
projects. There's a whole bunch of projects
yeah,
that have been announced but don't have a date set in stone yet. I don't think so. I think this will be announcing stuff that either we have heard about or haven't, and getting set release dates for them with some minor
yes.
castings, but nothing major.
And just I want to say that they dropped some stuff for, if D23 wasn't around the corner as well, I'd say that they just dropped their whole load here of like, hey, like, you know, this is our slate for the next 5 years, or hey, like this is where we're going, or because you know Kevin Feige made a big deal of letting us know like, hey, like we're going on to a meeting to plan everything, blah blah blah, ha ha ha, like we haven't already, ha ha ha. Phase 4 probably shows that they hadn't already. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I expect more release dates and kind of like preliminary announcements, and then D23 will get like the everything else. I'm a little hesitant to say full trailer. I'm thinking teaser at most, so maybe like a minute long teaser, if that. It's about all I can think of though, as far as like, because I think Cap 4, maybe some more details on that. Maybe I need more Blade details, honestly. That's what I'm really here for, if I'm honest. Young Avengers would be good, but yeah, I think it's going to be more focused on the kind of going towards Secret Wars, unless, and this is a very big unless, they go Mutants first and then Secret Wars, so that they can have some of those characters involved in Secret Wars.
Or Secret Wars gets kicked further down the road for like a phase 6, and phase 5 is Avengers versus X-Men.
Yes.
And then that sets that up, in which case you can then have them united as a giant team going into Secret Wars. It won't happen. So that means it will happen by reverse psychology. It won't happen. But I will lose my mind. 1, if we get Fantastic Four casting. Or 2, we find out that the villain for Fantastic Four is Mole Man. I will lose my mind going, I was right! They stole my script!
I don't know, man. There's been some like fan casting / leaks or like rumors that it's going to be a Doctor Doom, and like to an extent,
I don't think he's showing up in Fantastic Four. If those rumors are right,
yeah,
he might be showing up a lot sooner.
Oh, I agree. So we'll see what happens, man. And it'd be interesting to. So I think tonight I'm going to go watch the Eternals. Just so that I've seen it. But mainly also because Cinema Wins is doing his videos on it.
Yeah, and even he doesn't seem too high on it.
No, yeah, but it's like at the same time, like you can tell he's being as positive as possible, which is typical Cinema Wins stuff. But there's a certain I want to see in the movie how they handle certain things, and one of those is like, yo, where were you during all of Endgame and Infinity War? Like, so to me, if Doctor Doom shows up in phase 5, right, that soon, right? Where has the Fantastic Four been this whole time? Where has
Stuck in the quantum realm?
Stop! No! Oh gosh, I didn't think of that. Oh no!
I'm thinking they were a family in the '60s and it got stuck in the quantum realm.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Huh, okay, well, we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. I'm just excited that San Diego Comic-Con is going to be as big of a deal as it used to be.
As per usual, this episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it is t-shirts, hoodies, notebooks, stickers, whatever you want with Uncharted Media designs on them. We've got some fantastic designs to choose from. Go there and support the show. Now, let's get to some, I don't want to say fantasy booking, but kind of fantasy booking of fixing bad movie endings. Now, we need to preface this by saying not all the movies we're going to talk about today are bad movies. Some movies are great, but they don't stick the landing. And I think in the grand scheme of things, it's better to have a bad start but finish strong than to have a really good strong start and fail spectacularly at the end, because the end is the lasting impact people have. So
Yeah.
I think for context, for people that haven't seen the movies we're going to talk about, before we delve into our fixes for them, we'll go into a full like spoiler-ish breakdown of what actually happened for any given movie, or endings for at least one of my movies. And then we'll kind of give the tweaks of, okay, here's the pieces that we would have moved around. Here's how we would have changed it. By and large, we tried not to alter the entire movie. And sometimes it's big changes. Sometimes it's small changes that end up having wider ripple effects. But yeah, we're just having a fun creative exercise. Enjoy it if you will. If you don't, you're wrong. Josh, how do you want to approach this?
Jeez. Yeah, I kind of have done the same thing. Like I did try to not alter. There's a couple of movies I'll bring up that like there's all the changes that I want to make to the movie I can't do, because I tried to keep it at the very least into the climax and that back third, back fourth of a movie. Those are where the changes are gonna happen. So you want to get the one that you and I have said for a long time out of the way?
Yes, I'll take the reins on this, because I may have tweaked it and fleshed it out even more so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So way back, like early videos that Josh and I did together. I don't even know if we ever said this in a video, or it was just us talking.
I don't think we ever have.
No, we might. I think we had to have at
maybe
some
in a
point
podcast.
in a video. Now, even before then, and more, it's just been one of those things that we talked about for a while. With Amazing Spider-Man 2, the worst Spider-Man movie. Come at me, I don't care. It's not good. Andrew Garfield's fantastic in it, but the movie's not great.
Best. It's unfortunate because it has the best Spider-Man suit so far.
No, not anymore. It doesn't.
No.
Nope. The homemade Holland suit. The homemade Holland suit at the end of No Way Home is perfect, because he literally has the sewing machine. It's perfect, and I cried tears of joy. But in Amazing Spider-Man 2, after fighting Dubstep Electro, random disease-ridden SS Tricky Green Goblin shows up, and basically drops Gwen Stacy, and it's kind of ambiguous how Gwen dies, whether it was the neck snap or smacking her head. Regardless, Peter is unable to save Gwen Stacy. But for important context, before he goes off to fight Electro, Peter made this big, bold proclamation of, I will come with you to England. I love you so much. He puts I love you in big, huge webbing across one of the bridges in New York as she's taking a taxi to go to the airport to leave forever. They have this cute romantic moment at the top of the bridge. But like, all right, I'll go help you. And then to take care of Electro. Cue the end of the movie where Gwen dies, and then they come back to it in No Way Home. It's a beautiful moment, yada, yada, yada. Then we have one of the stupidest endings to a Spider-Man movie ever of, oh, hi, I'm a small boy who's going to stand up to Paul Giamatti's Rhino, which is the stupidest Rhino ever. And then Spider-Man comes out, not mopey anymore, and swings a trash can. Cut to credits. Here's how I would make it better. Or how Josh and I would make it better, because we had this joint idea. I was trying to do the Adam Blampied, and here's how I would fix it.
Wow,
Josh and I love the idea of the I love you on the bridge. That's a great idea. So we'll pick it up from that moment of Peter and Gwen on top of the bridge having this really great moment. Then off in the distance, we can have Electro, just like how it was in the regular movie. This time, Peter does not bring Gwen with him to fight Electro. Do not put your loved ones in the face of danger. So he puts her down at street level at the bridge, saying, I'll come back for you later, but I'm not going to leave you on top of a bridge. That's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put you down here. I'll come back once I'm done with Electro, because I can do this myself. So he goes to take care of Electro. He wins the day, yada, yada, yada. He goes back to find Gwen. She's nowhere to be found. And all of a sudden, he hears a pitching scream from the top of the bridge where they just were. Goblin has now come in and swooped up Gwen, because he knows, oh, you're Peter's girlfriend. Do you think Peter would give me Spider-Man's blood? If he won't give it to me, I'll kidnap one of his loved ones. And so in this moment, we can have some dialogue, and somehow Goblin finally figures out who Spider-Man is. They have a fight, and instead of on a clock tower, here is where Gwen Stacy dies, on top of the bridge, just like she does in the comics. We can have a Goblin Spider-Man fight. Gwen drops, but this is a little more clear that it's Peter's fault of the next snap. And like, he holds her dead body, he's crying and mourning, and down on the ground, like, they'll be on top of the bridge, down on the ground, we have Goblin just laughing, like Willem Dafoe's Goblin was in No Way Home, just laughing. Peter drops down to ground level, and in front of all the pedestrians down on street level, beats Goblin nearly to death. And it's not until he sees everyone's shocked and awed expression that he finally withholds his final punch and doesn't kill Goblin, but seeing, oh, I forever tarnished my reputation with the city. They've seen who I am now, of like, I almost beat a man to death. And as Peter goes back up to just put Gwen's body safely, the I love you webbing dissolves away in the wind, just like a metaphor for Gwen's lifeless body, because we're dark and twisted. But better yet, we will still have that great scene that was in Amazing Spider-Man 2 of let him soak in his grief for a while. Let him sit in his sadness for a little bit. Then you can have someone come to Green Goblin and be like, while he's recovering, obviously, be like, hey, you want revenge on Spider-Man? We know how to do that. And don't actually show the 6 cages showing how to set up the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
But we can have Peter moping, but he realizes this is what Gwen would have wanted me to do. She would have wanted me to keep fighting. Then on the radio, we got reports of a giant robot on Main Street. And you just see Peter grab the mask and fly out the window. Cut to black. No Rhino fight, no small child. It still ends on a somewhat dour note, but with the prospect of hope going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Which in hindsight, now with all of the revelations from No Way Home, gives us the opportunity for a third Amazing Spider-Man where he like doesn't pull his punches anymore and actually has to deal with on screen with his depression. Like, yeah, he's still going out and fighting, but like he really hasn't dealt with the anger that came out that day. So yeah, absolutely. Like, I go to movies to have my heart ripped out. So that's what I want. What was it? I guess since we're kind of in spoiler territory here, somebody was asking me what I thought about the Stranger Things finale, and I legit looked in the eye and I was like, "There's not enough death," and I wanted more death. And they're like,
That's actually where this discussion topic stems from, because yes, Josh and I both enjoyed Stranger Things season 4, but both of us would be like, oh yeah, we would have killed off a lot more people. Either Steve or Robin should have died. At least one of the people in the Russian team should have died. The fact that all of them survived is weird.
Yeah, that's weird. That part's the weirdest part for me.
Yeah, so we're just like, we definitely would have made some tweaks. So we wanted to apply that to the movie sets. I have a couple more comic book movies. Actually, like half my stuff is comic book movies. So
I have at least 3 more.
Yeah, I actually have 3 more. So
yeah,
let's stick on the Spider-Man train and go from Amazing Spider-Man 2 to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3. This is one of those ones that it's just a small change, but it has a big ripple effect. In the end fight, when Tobey is like ripping the black suit off with the gong and everything else, it's not Topher Grace, Eddie Brock that gets the symbiote. It is Harry Osborn recovering from injury.
It just makes more sense.
It makes so much more sense. You've been setting up this fight for 2.5 movies. And what does the Venom symbiote attach itself to? Anger and aggression. Who is more pissed than Spring Breakers James Franco? That's what I'm going with. But also, like, Peter just tried to blow him up, so he's clearly recovering. A symbiote could help with that. Symbiote could help with his anger and aggression. It's not like
I can help with that.
it's not like this isn't a fight that's been built up forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
So once he takes care of Sandman and we could still get that great moment of forgiveness, have the blood feud. And then you could still get some form of a redemption of like, I think it was also Adam Blampier that had the great idea of Venom's weakness besides loud noises is fire. Maybe, in the comic, Harry Osborn sacrifices himself to save Peter when his house is on fire or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe something similar happens here. Maybe he burns himself alive to sacrifice and get rid of the symbiote forever. Something that kills off Harry. Harry has to die either way, but maybe he dies taking this symbiote with him. Just, it's right there in front of you. It's such an easier fix. It's a story arc that you've actually been telling slow burn style for 3 movies, only for the third one to take him out of the equation for most of the movie and not really make him the villain. You turned him face too quickly. Make him the big bad of the entire overarching series. That would have worked so much better. Or a Venom Goblin. That would have been cool.
Stop. That's terrifying.
If he's wearing his dad's suit from the first one, Venomized? Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, not ready for that. Not ready for that at all.
He turns into Willem Dafoe with the symbiote.
No, gosh, no, I don't need that in my life. But I mean, that takes care of some of the problems of Spider-Man 3, and then there's too many villains. So it's like, okay, well then just combine them then, bro. And like him fighting Venom is just as much as Peter and Harry repairing their friendship as it is them Spider-Man fighting a villain. So works really well there. I am gonna go in an unexpected direction for me. In 1978, this like little film came out that like changed everything about superheroes. It's
okay, good.
I don't know if
I thought you were going to say Halloween. I was going, there's nothing wrong with Halloween, damn
it. I don't know if you've ever heard it's this movie called Superman. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty niche.
Yeah, I was tempted to put this on here because I hate the ending for this, but I don't know how to fix this one easily.
I know how to fix it. Let me go. All right.
Let me have a go.
Yeah, I'm gonna run this as a caveat here, because obviously, me fixing this is gonna go into a more modern, kind of a modern take as far as what superhero movies are nowadays. I'm sorry, but I'm still gonna have him think he can go around the world and try to turn back time, but he's going to stop the planet, which obviously will I don't know, destroy everything. So I'm going to end the movie with him like sitting there in the destruction that he's caused because he was so angry. And that's about as far as I want him to. I don't like Superman for a lot of reasons, but having him like reap the consequences of his grief is hilarious to me.
So you wanted to make a Homelander movie?
Yes, correct.
Are you okay, man? You want the world to die?
I'm really not. I'm really not. Absolutely. But like to me, I think if you're gonna have him do something that ridiculous, there has to be consequences. You don't get to just go, yeah, let's throw science out the window.
Really? That's the hill you're going to die on, and not Superman 4 when he repairs the Great Wall of China with his eyeball rebuilding vision?
Nate, I don't think you understand. Superman 4 did not happen. Quest for Peace is not a thing. Sorry. But to me, I think it's Superman. It's just such like this is a hard one to kind of do without completely like rewriting the whole back half of that film. But to me, if you're gonna I'm fine with him thinking he can turn back time that way. That like have him meet like a disgruntled Batman later and be like, why did you think that was going to work? Like I could have, if you would have asked me, I would have given you
West's Batman.
Yeah, exactly. I would have given you 1,000 reasons why that wouldn't have worked. That's not Adam West, but that's I guess my impression of him.
That's like a carnival hawker,
which I guess is kind of what 66 Batman was. Oh yeah, come at me, bro. Boof. Pow!
You
Yeah,
can
that's
leap.
how it works.
You can leap tall buildings in a single bound. Wow.
Oh yeah, wow.
So
Come on, Robin, I got my shark repellent.
I would not be surprised if this movie is on both of Josh and I's lists, and it's one of those of like, don't come at us, because it is a great movie, but it does not stick the landing. Wonder Woman.
Okay.
I really
I'll allow that. I gave you this one.
I really enjoy Wonder Woman, but the reason it's not higher on like my all-time favorite comic book movies is I don't think the ending lands, and I think there's a big difference you can make. When Ares changes from human form to god form, I don't know. How about you actually change Ares? He is still a scrawny British man in a horned helmet. He does not have the physique for Ares. I get that they're just like, it's symbolic because he infiltrates the minds of men and corrupts them. I get that. That's a good idea of he influences people. When he is doing that and conniving, like Kilgrave from Jessica Jones, having David Thewlis's natural look, that works. But when he's supposed to be this big, huge god of war, maybe, you know, change up his appearance just a little bit. Just saying, even Zack Snyder did the same thing of keeping David Thewlis in a weird, like, just keeping him in his regular physique. I'm just going, he's supposed to be the god of war. He's supposed to be terrifying. Not a mustachioed British man. Also, I've heard some people suggest, and I think this would have been a great idea, but you couldn't do this in a big blockbuster superhero movie of, there is no Ares. Wonder Woman realizes the hard way that war wasn't caused by the manipulation of a god. It was just the evil in men's hearts that did it. Nothing outside motive related. It's just her having to realize people might not be as good as she hoped for them to be. That, I think, also would have been a profound statement. But then I think audiences would have been like, well, where's the big fight scene at the end? How about a moral dilemma? You like those instead?
You can wrestle with those all night long, even after the movie's over. I feel that, though. Yeah, because I had thought about that, but there was some other stuff I wanted to tackle. So there's that. Yeah, because like that was, I think, one of my biggest complaints leaving Wonder Woman. I love the movie as a whole, but if Ares had actually been, I don't know, Ares, then yeah, you need this big scary dude, because they do kind of play it up as this like big reveal, like, oh, this is Ares this whole time. Wow, that's crazy. But then he never turns into like a godlike creature, which I can understand if you're like, we want to do Wonder Woman, but without some of the fantastical elements. It's like, okay,
she has a golden lasso that lights up that makes people tell the truth, and an invisible helicopter. What?
Yeah, you still gave her the invisible helicopter. So like, I don't know what you're wanting here, my dude. Yeah, kind of. And she's got, and then the next movie they were like,
I can turn things invisible.
I know that we said no fantastical elements, but we're still going to give her wings. So anyway,
and she's going to fly to the music from Sunshine for some reason.
Yeah, like, get out of this. Oh gosh. That being said, we're going to stay in this DC realm for just a little bit longer. Now, I do not have time on this podcast to fix everything wrong with The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh.
However, the thing that I would love, I think minor changes, but the implication is big here. I think Talia, changing the way that Talia operates in the film, I think makes a big deal. Have her try to like use that opportunity. So say she's like, ha ha ha, like I'm the child of Ra's al Ghul, not him. Ha, got you. And Bane's like, yo, where have you been this whole time? Like, screw you, and kills her.
Yeah.
And then like Bane goes out. Like, that's because to me the biggest thing is like, I don't have time to deal with the whole moral thing of like Batman sacrificing himself, and then after spending the whole movie trying to become Batman again twice, he then just quits. Okay, cool, whatever. I don't have time to devil in all of that. But to me, I think getting rid of the element where like hey, I know we've been in this movie for almost 2.5 hours, but and Bane's been the main villain. Well, guess what? He actually wasn't the whole main villain. Yeah, now you have no emotional attachment to the villain. Haha. I think that's pointless and it just doesn't work. So I'd say, you know what? Fine. We wanted Bane to be the Tom Hardy from Warrior. Absolutely, have her be like, "Ha, I'm going to take advantage of your plan," and Bane be like, "Or not," and just kill her right in front of Batman. And then not only is Batman being betrayed, but he's also seeing this woman that he thought he loved literally be killed in front of him.
Oh,
so,
this, the woman I spent one night with, not even a night, I bailed on her halfway through.
Yeah. But he cares about her so much, bro. Whatever,
It's Marion Cotillard, so I mean, I don't blame him. But you left at midnight and just dipped. My last comic book movie. We'll stick on the Batman train.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
The movie that brings me tremendous sadness because, oh gosh, just does not work on so many levels, but I think a big part of it is the finale. In the actual version of the movie, Lex combines his DNA and Superman's DNA to create Doomsday, and Doomsday wrecks basically like a island that doesn't really have anybody on it.
Yep.
And it takes Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman out of nowhere, fighting together-ish to take down Doomsday, but in the process, Superman uses a Kryptonian spear, which doesn't make sense, to kill Doomsday, but in the process, Doomsday kills Superman, and Superman is dead. In his second movie!
Also, it doesn't make sense of how Doomsday can just pierce his skin, but sure, okay.
Alright, here's where we... here's where we're just going to immediately starting over of... Okay, have Lex... be like, I had a contingency plan. If Superman and Batman work together, I combine my DNA with Superman's DNA to create a being unlike anything you've ever seen. Not your Doomsday, but something more bizarre. It is Bizarro instead. Because I've never understood if you create a human who's, let's just generously say Lex is like 5'10", and Henry, sexy Cavill at 6'3". How do you have a 20-foot tall Lord of the Rings cave troll? If you combine the two DNA, wouldn't he look a little more humanoid? Like, it works more being Bizarro, but also the whole central theme of Batman vs. Superman is, can we really trust Superman? Is Superman truly good? How great would it be if the finale is actually Superman fighting what the world perceives him to be, which is a mindless, destroying, unfeeling monster in a cape. So it's Bizarro. It's Bizarro instead of Doomsday. We could save Doomsday for another day. So if we don't have Doomsday, Superman doesn't die in his second movie. Also,
I think that's the key here. I think you were like, hey, I just don't want to kill him in the second movie. How do we get around that?
But also, like, Doomsday, Bizarro makes much more sense of if you're merging the two DNAs, why does he look like that?
Yeah.
And also, we get rid of the kryptonite spear thing because, again, Wonder Woman excels with weapons, and Superman's weakness is kryptonite. So of the two of those people, who do you think should actually be handling the kryptonite spear here? But then also, if the three of them work together to take down Bizarro, you could still have the Trinity teaming up. That'd be cool. Then they could work together and realize, okay, we've stopped Lex, but there's other threats out there. How about the three of us united, start to work together to build a team? Because
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I like the idea of the Trinity being the establishing core, not just Batman going, I feel guilty for killing Superman, even though it's not my fault, like, at all. So let's get a stronger foundation for our Justice League. If the Trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman is supposed to be like the pillars of the Justice League, they're the ones, the central core that always has to be there, make them the foundation. Let them all be alive. Save Doomsday for a later date. Even, heck, quick on the fly thinking. No spear,
Okay.
no kryptonite weapon. Retconning another movie. Superman gets Bizarro in the same position he got Zod in Man of Steel, about to snap his neck.
Ooh.
And the world is watching. And he lets him go this time. Doesn't kill him. Going, okay, Snyder, if you insisted that you had an arc for Superman, here's how you could have done it. Of actually have this character grow. Realize, okay, maybe there's another path here. Maybe have Batman. Have Batman, of all people, the one that was operating and killing a whole bunch of people, going, his life needs to be spared. Have Batman and Superman learn that moral lesson.
Yeah.
Boom. Fixed everything. We're in world peace now.
It's not his fault for existing. He doesn't deserve the death that some of these other people do, or something. Like, hey, like that's not the way. Yeah, absolutely. That just fixes so many things. But yeah, no, it's not like there's stuff coming out about Snyder right now. Anyway, let's hop over that. I love how you went from a movie where two iconic heroes are fighting, and my final comic book movie is also about two iconic superheroes fighting. Let's talk about Captain America: Civil War. So,
oh gosh, let's beat this dead horse.
Yeah, absolutely. However, this is me saying there's large sections of this movie that I really, really enjoy, but I think it in typical like MCU fashion, they kind of had to make it a lot bigger. To me, save that for an Avengers movie. What I really like about this film is that it explores the gray area of war and the gray area of like being mind controlled. So like, are you actually like at fault for that kind of stuff? So you know what? The airport scene, taking it out. Bye.
What?
Well, we can do that later. We can do that like in an Avengers movie where where the ramifications of Civil War are actually like, hey, let's like actually make Tony and Cap actually not like each other first before they're like, hey, we're gonna fight each other. So our climax is still going to be the tag team, the reveal that Bucky killed Tony's parents and Cap knew the whole time. And to me, and they don't hide it at all in the entire movie. So it's like one of those like, Tony, how did you not know?
All right, Tony is an idiot when they need him to be.
I mean, he is. That's very fair. But I want to build it to where that is the moment. And they both beat the ever-loving crap out of him still. And so then that leads us into all the ramifications. That moment is the one where I don't want them to end it on friends. If it's a civil war and they're gonna fight like that, I'm not okay with them being like, with Cap being like, I'm the bigger man. If you ever need me, give me a call.
Tony Stank.
I'm not okay with that. It doesn't sit well with me. And I think if all this stuff is going to happen, and for them to end up teaming up again later in Endgame, that to me that brings more like, okay, they're finally burying this hatchet. I'm like, finally, after all this time, like that's awesome. To me, you have to actually have a moment where they actually do hate each other, and I don't mean like Tony hates Cap, blah 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 blah, but like no, like Cap actually has to have like an actual position and not just like, I'm a good guy and I'm uncomfortable with these accords. Like that just, that doesn't set well with me.
We are not of one accord here.
Yeah, boo.
So my next one is the only one on my list today that actually has a different version of its ending that actually already does fix everything. My only answer is you should have just gone with this ending instead. And that one I've talked about many a time on the podcast before. Will Smith's I Am Legend.
Yes.
They filmed two endings, and they absolutely picked the wrong one. In the movie that we got, Will Smith's Robert Neville, I believe is his character's name, is like the last human left in the world, as it's been like taken over by like mutated creatures or whatever. So he basically is like living. It's a post-apocalyptic movie. He's like living day to day and trying to avoid the mutants or whatever else and trying to find a cure, so to speak, and make society back to the way it was. But he discovers like a mom and her son or something. And he's like, well, they're worth saving. So when the monsters come to attack, because he has one of their own hostage that he's been doing research on, they come to attack. He sacrifices himself so the mom and their kid can get away with the cure, and the world will be able to get back to the way it was. Except that's not how it was in the book, and also that leaves a much less emotional impact. So the alternate version that was filmed for I Am Legend that would have fit more in theme with the movie is the people, the mutants, come for the person that has been experimented on by Will Smith's character, but Will Smith realizes that he's the bad guy. He's the one that's been hunting them. He's the monster, not them. So all this time, they just wanted one of their own back. They never wanted to harm anybody. Robert Neville, Will Smith, realizes this is the next stage of human. I'm the old guard. I am in the wrong here. I am impeding the progress of the future generations. The world as I know it is done. I can't go back to that. But apparently people thought that was too sad and depressing, so they just went with the original ending of Will Smith go boom boom. It was a slap in the face. And now we're getting a sequel with Michael B. Jordan, so I don't know. Everything's made up and the points don't matter, and the Will Smith don't matter.
Yeah. But like this is actually on my list as well, because like you said, like the original ending that they filmed and then didn't go with, it's absolutely so much better to me. Like having Will Smith's character, after everything, see that he himself is the monster that he thought he was fighting. That just, to me, has a more like emotional pull than just like, oh, I fighting zombies. Like to me, like thinking like his dog was turning into the next evolution, and he was so unwilling to let that go that he killed his own dog.
We don't talk about that scene.
Yeah. So, but to me, like that makes that scene even more sad. Of like he's so unwilling to let go of the old world that he just like he will literally impede everybody else.
The funny thing is, I didn't even think about this. I could have segued this perfectly because I just talked about Batman versus Superman. In the background of I Am Legend,
yes,
there's a Batman and Superman poster back in like what 2007 or whatever.
Which is
the
hilarious.
Superman logo inside of the Bat logo. I'm going, whoa, that's weird.
That works on too many levels.
I Am Legend kind of could count as a horror movie, suspense thriller. So I'll get to my first horror movie here.
Okay.
With Scream 4.
Okay.
Oddly specific Scream 4. So in Scream, there's always at least two killers. It's like the mystery of who's the killers this time around. In the fourth one, it ended up being Emma Roberts, the niece of Sidney Prescott. So she's got an emotional connection. And I think her boyfriend or somebody else that was like a fanboy of Ghostface. He gets killed off real quick anyway. Here's my fix. Gale Weathers should have been Ghostface. Not killed off. Courtney Cox's character should have been Ghostface all along. Why do I say that specifically for Scream 4 more so than any of the other Scream movies? Because I've never really cared for the character of Gale. But Scream 4 specifically was setting her character up for it by... despite the fact that she was the news reporter that broke the news, she was the one always actively involved with the story. The spotlight always went to Sidney Prescott. She was the one with the successful book. She was the one with the successful life. Gale Weathers was clinging to relevancy. She was clinging to what's the next big headline. Her marriage is on the rocks with Dewey. She needed some motivation, and I think it would have been much more interesting if her motivation was, I'll investigate the next Ghostface killer as the Ghostface killer, and maybe things just got out of hand, I just think that would have been so much more interesting. The story was really setting it up for her to be the villain, to the point of I thought it was spoiled for me. I thought she was the villain. I don't know where I heard that, but I thought she was the villain. So when I finally got around to watching Scream 4 and the real villains are revealed, I'm going, okay, when's the last twist and we find out it's Gale? Oh, well, where did I hear that Gale was the killer? Because watching it, thinking that Gale's the killer, so much of it makes sense. But when she's revealed to not be, just going, this doesn't seem in fitting with the character and also the wisest utilization of this character. So it's not my last horror one I'll talk about, but Gale should have been in the killer in Scream 4, especially given that she really didn't bring anything to the table in Scream 5. So make her the killer in the next Scream movie because, she's got one less loved one to worry about.
I feel that, though, because if things in horror movies, if there's something that really destroys a horror movie, it's that ending. And I know you could say that about all movies, but horror movies, I think, depend so heavily on that back third, because a lot of horror is all slow build and the ebbs and flows. One of our favorite movies, and is on my list, is Sinister. I absolutely love this film. However, the last 15, 20 minutes is kind of I'm okay with so basically in the film, you have Ethan Hawke's character, Ethan Hawke's character who basically unintentionally, I'll give him that credit, unintentionally kind of curses his family to this demon and you're kind of left wondering why this family, why this house, why is there more than one family. It gives one of the best jump scares of all time. It literally doesn't show anything, but your mind puts the pieces together with the lawnmower scene. However, the last 15 minutes, so I guess spoiler, but we said spoilers warning going into these, but it's revealed that the thing that killed the families, all in the videos that Ethan Hawke's character is seeing, is that they previously lived in one of the houses of the other families that got killed by the demon, whose name is escaping my brain at this moment. Bagul, with the creepy Darth Maul guy with the sewn up mouth. No, not
Darth Maul. That's Sinister. No, that's Insidious.
Anyway, creepy crow guy. Yeah, let's go with that. However, so it's revealed that that's the thing that it's the moment that they leave the house that they then can continue to do the cycle. And he gets rid of the box of tapes before they move, and then they move and the box of tapes appears in his office. So, and then they do the whole reveal that it's the kids that have been killing their families this whole time. I am perfectly okay with that. I'm not I'm not okay with kids killing their families. That ending. I love that reveal. I love that, that makes sense why those kids are still missing. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. What bothers me is that having this almost hour and a half of incredibly well-crafted scares and horror experience to have the last image of your film be a cheap jump scare.
It's literally popping out the side of the screen. It's not
it's not good.
Yeah.
So how I would change it. It's very small detail, but I think it has it has a Ouija Origin of Evil feel to it. Obviously, this is not a demon that can be really stopped, at least with the information that the first movie gives us. So he's not going to get stopped. You already have this ending where evil wins, right? So okay, let's have the daughter swing the axe at her dad's head, and he sees it comes down, and you cut to black. Come back up, and it's a realtor selling their house to somebody and being super shady. and being like, yeah. So what happened to the family that used to live here? Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to you. And then roll the credit. Because to me, seeing like the implications of Ethan Hawke's character, like not willing to accept of what's going on, that because he does of his quest for fame, he actually like continues this cycle for this demon, and instead of just being like jump scare, got him. And it still opens up for the sequel that they eventually did that's actually not that good at all, but at least it gives us this like this feeling of like, oh, like evil has won and it will continue to win in the future, as opposed to just like, gotcha. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, my next one. I have in my notes just all of it. And this is a movie Josh and I like. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Interesting. Okay.
So much with this ending that just craps the bed. So for those that don't remember, Rise of Skywalker ends with Rey and Kylo finding the power of love and using the power of the Jedi to look up at the stars or something and deflecting electricity back at Palpatine and killing him, even though killing him puts the spirit back into Rey like he wanted to, because Palpatine wanted to die the whole time. Rey and Kylo kiss, and then Kylo dies, and then Rey digs a hole and ditches lightsabers, and then calls identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Okay, first of all, and here's where I'm gonna piss off Disney so much. Rey will not be the hero at the end of this story, because whether you intended it or not, Disney, Rey is not the hero of the sequel trilogy. Ben Solo is. So Ben Solo will be the one to defeat Palpatine. You know, the one that's been invading his mind for the entire trilogy, as you guys tried to retcon it to be, of I'm every voice you've ever heard, or whatever else. You can still have Rey be there to help Ben, but if you want to fully do the redemption arc, go all the way with it. Like, actually make Ben the hero here. Don't just like, oh, he's out of commission. We just needed him so Rey could have a second lightsaber. Have Ben actually help out here. Also, don't be cheap. Don't just get voiceovers. Actually have Jedi Force ghosts. I like the idea of, if Palpatine is channeling all the Sith, all the Jedi that we are familiar with and have some emotional connection to show up. But don't just do a voice. Actually have them as Force ghosts. That could be actually really, really cool. Make it a la Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire, when he's in the duel with Voldemort and all of a sudden the ghost comes behind and starts holding Harry's hand with the wand. Do something like that with the Jedi. I think could be really, really cool. Most importantly, more than anything else, Rey and Kylo will not kiss. I never bought romantic chemistry from them. I got more of a family thing, family vibe from them, which, I mean, it's Star Wars. That's never stopped people in the past. But still, I don't need those two. And my mom was always like, it was always meant to be a romance. Was it? I got more romantic tension from Finn and Poe than I did from, Finn and Poe, from Rey and Kylo. Like,
they should have pulled the trigger on that. But, absolutely.
I mean, Disney, you don't make any money from the Chinese market from Star Wars anyway. But I got a familial bond from the two of them, not a romantic bond. And also, like, hey, Rey, you're not a Skywalker. Don't claim to be. You had barely any connection to Luke Skywalker. You actively shunned him for most of your life. But also, like, the whole point of you being a Palpatine was you are more than just your name. Embrace the fact that your name is Rey Palpatine and tell people Palpatine was one person. It's not my legacy. If the movie is so obsessed with names and lineage, don't try and change it. Embrace who you are. I thought that was the point of Rise of Skywalker. Also, maybe don't try and copy Avengers Endgame with having all the ships come in all at once. But, you know, again, I like Rise of Skywalker, but the finale is a bloomin' mess, and I hate it so much. And also, I'm not saying this is in my official edit, but just for personal preference, could Ben Solo survive and Rey be the one that dies? Or if we're gonna kill one of them off, don't do this weird like soul transference thing that's never been hinted at in any Star Wars
No,
anything
it's the
ever.
life force. He gave her life, gave her his life force. You know, I'm saying that like it's a normal thing. Yeah, he gave her his life force. Don't you know?
Like Jedi can do weird things, like as we're talking to sea whales, but I'm more okay with sea whales than bringing someone back to life that it's never been introduced ever. That's kind of game breaking, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which it's interesting that you have Rise of Skywalker because I have Last Jedi.
I kind of figured.
It is a little weird. It's a very minor change, but like it's one of my biggest gripes about Last Jedi. Like I understand how powerful Luke is to teleport his like and do like a force ghost thing of himself on the other side of the galaxy. However, to me, he needs to be there. I think Luke has to physically be there. It makes it even cooler. And if you still want him to like become a ghost or whatever, that's fine. Have him go out like Obi-Wan does in A New Hope. I'm perfectly okay with that. Like striking me down will not fix the hole that you're seeking to fill. Like you will not get the redemption
emotional
that you are
validation.
Seeking. Correct. You're not getting the emotional you're not getting the emotional fulfillment. There it is. Wow, another brain break moment today. Woo. Emotional fulfillment that you think you're going to get by getting rid of me, by getting rid of your mom. Like, to me, him actually being there and Kylo actually striking him down, I think, especially in tandem with Ben being the one at the end in Rise of Skywalker.
So
the
Ben
one that
kills both. Ben kills both Han and Luke.
Yes, and I want him to. And honestly, Leia should have died when in the beginning. I'm sorry, but there's
given the real life circumstances, they should have killed Leia off in Last Jedi. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, but not even that. But like having her just kind of like Force come back in, it kind of felt a little cheap.
She's Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, apparently. But to me, Luke has to be there. And while I understand like how powerful you have to be as a Jedi to do that, it still doesn't make it emotionally as impactful as it really should have been. And being that this would have been the first time we saw Luke in action since the original trilogy, it felt like kind of a cheap trick, kind of like, I don't know, the ending of Force Awakens. Like, oh, wow, we're finally getting to see Luke Skywalker again. And it's done. All right, cool. Like, so at the end of the day, I think the last Jedi, to me, I'm okay with what we got as long as Luke is actually there at the end. Actually gets to like Rey actually gets to see the power of the Force wielded through Luke, and Kylo gets to see that destroying everything and starting over is not the answer. So it's just way more emotionally powerful to me than what we got. Now, obviously, like you and I are of the understanding, like Disney kind of let Rian Johnson write them in a corner, and then we got Rise of Skywalker, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Was that your last one? You got one more?
As far as like non-horror, because I got two more.
Oh, go for it, because I just have one more.
Okay, so this is kind of a gimme. For those who have seen a fantastic horror film called The Descent, and I think Nate already knows where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's not mine, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so The Descent is a fantastic movie about a group of girls that go into a cave system to explore. They end up getting trapped, finds out that they're not the first ones in there like they thought, and end up getting like basically one by one hunted down and killed by these like ancient cave dwellers. It's very terrifying, honestly. The weird part is that there's two versions of the film.
Yep.
One is for the UK, one is for the US. And the UK version is significantly better in its editing. And I wish that was the universal one.
Which
in the UK,
which one is version which?
What's up?
Which one's which?
So
Gotcha.
So in the American version, our main protagonist, she gets through, gets that burst of air, she gets in the vehicle, she's out, she drives that sucker as far as she can, and then gets off to the side of the road, pukes because she's like traumatized, and looks over and sees the her dead friend or whatever. Then it jump scares, goes to credit. That's the American version. The UK version, it jump scares and then flips to show that she fell, and she's dying back in the cave, and her escaping was just in her head. And I personally, I think the theme of this episode is Josh likes dark endings better than anything, and I like that ending better.
See, here's why I don't like it. I've seen both endings. One, because clearly the British one can't be canon because they made a sequel with that same actress again.
Unfortunately.
But my issue with it is, basically she goes crazy. So she's there. She's just picturing, like she's talking to nothing basically, and all the creatures are surrounding her. I more have issue with, it's not really a character that was set up to be one of those that would like emotionally break. Like if anybody would, if there's one character that would make it out because she's mentally tough enough, it would be this character. So like, I also don't like fake outs like that. Like
that's fair.
When you and I talked about the Green Knight, of just like, I know this is a fake out, but I don't like extended fake outs like this. Of just like, it feels cheap. Well,
the Green Knight's fake out was like almost 5-10 minutes long, so there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. I personally am not a huge fan of fake outs, but I think it gave me like 1408 vibes of like, oh good.
Yeah, I think I'm a little different than that.
Psych.
I'm different with the 1408 fake out because that fake out didn't end the movie. There was still more to it.
Fair.
It was like another layer of hell for him to go through, type of thing, as opposed to the Descent or
yeah. So okay, that's fine. Let's add some stuff then. That's the whole part of this is fixing bad endings, right? So I'm gonna go after I like that fake out ending, but okay. So let's say it fakes out and she's getting surrounded. Let's say she does something to still get out. Like the fake out is the thing that drives her and go, okay, no, I'm not dying here. And she does something. I forget all of the stuff that she has at her disposal, but she fights her way out and still survives because of the fake out.
I will meet you halfway.
Okay.
It's a fake out. She still dies in the cave, but all the creatures surrounding her, I don't know the creature's biology, but all the creatures surrounding her are the transformed versions of her dead friends.
Ooh, okay. I like that a lot. I don't
know if that's like something that can happen with that, of like if people can transform into the cave dwellers, or if they've always been there. But
yeah, because they never really explain or like explore those cave dwellers. But if that was a detail, oh dude, and like doing the fake out and coming back and go, oh no, I'm still trapped. Holy crap, those are my friends and they're about to eat me. Like that's so much more terrifying than like the endings that we got. Absolutely. I think it's just hilarious that you and I are very much like,
they all should die, which is funny because my last one that we'll talk about here in a little bit is a little more optimistic-ish.
Your ending's dark, but it could be darker.
Yeah, it's more fulfilling. All right, what's your last one? I'm curious.
It is a movie I saw once, and everybody pans as hilarious and stupid because of this ending and because of the details of the thing that gives our characters victories.
The Mist.
So Signs is traditionally hilarious in its ending, right? Because like, the water got him. Got him. Obviously that's a detail I want to get rid of. So for those that don't know,
Mel Gibson got
Signs
that
is an
drip.
alien. Yeah, Signs is a movie about aliens that do crop circles in these guys' yards, and then they can kill them with water and blunt objects.
Swing away, Mel.
Like, to quote a vampire book I read in middle school, you stab anything with a wooden stake through the heart, it's gonna die. So yeah, like what? You hit anything with a blunt object, of course it's gonna die, bro. Like, what is wrong with you? To me, gosh, this is really going the theme of us, where we just want, we want our characters to suffer. That's fine. Let's have him beat the crap out of an alien. absolutely blunt force trauma, baseball bat, just boom, 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 and another one comes through the door, and pins them down or whatever, and it's like, hey, like, yo, you thought like this was just about you, like you thought we were just here for you? Oh no, like crop circles are just our way of marking a planet for disintegration, and so then it pans out, and there's an alien invasion coming in, instead of just being like, yeah, we're gonna win in the end over these
Surprise!
like,
It's a War of the Worlds prequel.
Yeah, like to me, like I can't fathom. And every video I've watched about science brings up this problem. You're telling me this intergalactic race that has conquered the absolute secret and just mind-boggling problem of space travel, and they come and they can only communicate through crop circles? Okay, sure. So if that's the case, fine. Let's make the crop circles actually mean something to the aliens and not just like, all right, we gonna do things. Oh no, not water. Like, I'm not even gonna get into the War of the Worlds thing where the aliens die because of bacteria, but
yeah. Okay, I will give War of the Worlds a pass because that is how the aliens are defeated in the original H.G. Wells book. So I get that there would be like, and also like, that makes more sense to me than water. Like, yeah,
I agree.
Having had the world shut down for almost 2 years because of a virus, I can absolutely understand how a grouping of individuals could be destroyed by a foreign substance. Like,
I agree.
War of the Worlds, I give a pass to. I don't give a pass to Dakota Fanning squealing, but that's a whole other separate issue.
It's a whole other. I think the thing about War of the Worlds, that point that I've always seen brought up, and I would bring up as well, is I'm okay with it if it's like, if the movie wasn't built around like being a summer blockbuster and not like this, like, oh wow, like this is intrigue, it's intense, people are literally getting vaporized, like going as hard as it does in the book, to where that's the thing that does it. It's like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Because whereas like with Signs, bro, you literally came to a planet that is like 90% water, and you're like, oh, that's my weakness. How? That's like Superman going to a planet made out of kryptonite and being like, oh wait, that is what happened. That's why his family's dead. Anyway, but yeah, it's
is it though?
Yeah, because isn't it like kryptonite just like the remnants of his planet?
Yes, but they didn't. His parents didn't die because of kryptonite. They died because they used up the planet's natural resources.
Yeah.
They depleted everything.
Yeah, but it's to me, I think just like the idea of aliens going to a planet where that is like almost completely their weakness doesn't make sense. It'd be like us going to Saturn and not wearing helmets. Like, that's stupid.
I mean, there's a really, really easy joke there with another planet, but I won't be a 13-year-old boy and make that joke today about Pluto.
Yeah.
Pluto.
Pluto.
That's the one I was thinking.
Pluto.
You heard about Pluto?
The planet that's on the back end. Yeah.
You hear about Pluto? It's messed up, right?
Yeah.
So my last one, I saved for last because I had a Markiplier big brain moment when I was thinking of this. Just going, looking at my movie shelf, just going, that movie. Oh, I can bridge the gap. So this movie has two equally bad cuts of the movie, the theatrical cut and the producer's cut, and two wildly different endings, but both of them suck.
So Justice League. Oh, wait.
I said both of them suck. No, I don't even think Josh has seen this. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Isn't that the one where it's like a cult and that's the thing that like creates my... Okay, yeah, I saw it like once in college and that was it.
And I can do it better. So
I could probably do it better too. That the movie is not good.
Halloween 6, for context, the beginning of the movie shows a new Jamie, who is the main like hero 4 and 5, played by a completely different actor, but that's a completely separate story. She gets killed at the beginning by Michael Myers, and now we have Paul Stephen Rudd throughout the movie as Tommy Doyle, the kid that was babysat by Jamie Lee Curtis in the original movie. And Jamie in 4 and 5 and the beginning of 6 is supposed to be the daughter of Laurie Strode from the original Halloween. The end of Halloween 6 reveals that Michael belongs to a cult and is controlled by the power of Sam Hain, basically, of like, you have to kill everyone in your family or whatever. So the two different versions of Halloween 6 are equally stupid, but one of them is Paul Rudd in complete druid costumes is able to trap Michael in a circle because he puts, like, pebbles on the ground with ancient runic symbols on them, and that freezes Michael and basically makes him stop. The theatrical version has Paul Rudd beating Michael Myers with a lead pipe and then injecting him with green goo, and it just
that's so much better.
That just kind of ends the movie. And then the very next movie was a complete quote-unquote reboot with Halloween H2O. Here's how we can fix everything and go from 4 to H2O, actually.
Okay.
So we have Jamie Lee. We have Jamie, not Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie still die at the beginning. Whatever else, have most of our movie, except, make it better. Cut out the cult stuff that's revealed at the end. Still have Michael chasing Paul Rudd. But in this lab or what, like, location, wherever that he's hunting Paul Rudd, it's explained to the audience that Laurie Strode is still alive and didn't die in the car accident that they said she did in the fourth one. That's why Jamie is there and with the foster family. Laurie Strode is still alive and abandoned her daughter, Jamie, that she basically left to some other family, thinking Michael wouldn't come after her if she dropped her off with someone else. And maybe if I change my name to, I don't know, Carrie Tate and move to California, Michael won't find me. So now Michael, and the audience knows this, he almost kills Paul Rudd, but Paul Rudd survives because Paul Rudd. He almost kills Tommy Doyle and leaves. The movie ends with him going to California to go hunt down and kill Laurie once and for all, setting the stage for what we already know will happen with H2O. All you have to change with H2O is just take out the opening scene where Michael goes to Dr. Loomis's house and goes through all his records to more or less tell us what we can just explain in this one. So 4 ended on a big cliffhanger with Jamie killing her stepmom. 5 ended up with a big cliffhanger with Michael Myers escaping prison with the Man in Black. 6 could end with the cliffhanger of, holy crap, Laurie Strode is still alive and Michael's hunting her down. So a barely alive Tommy Doyle has to beat Michael to California to warn her. That way we can get Tommy and Laurie together for H2O, where we all love H2O. It's great. But have that proper context leading into it. And H2O is no longer just a sequel to 1 and 2. It becomes a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, a multi-movie arc. You can retcon it. You can just slide it right into that, and it flows a lot better. And don't have this weird, awkward 4, 5, 6 trilogy that doesn't really connect into anything. You can make it tangentially. Because at one point, it was supposed to be that in H2O, that Laurie finds out that she had Jamie. So I think it would be interesting if we introduce that back into the timeline. She had good reason for abandoning her daughter, saying, if Michael doesn't know you're my daughter, he will leave you alone, type of thing. But bring that full circle, streamline the storyline. Also, that clips some branches from Halloween and just kind of makes it a much more streamlined storyline as opposed to reboot over reboot over reboot.
Even though the new ones are pretty good, and like at least the first one of Rob Zombie is not half bad, I do wish like those first 6 or whatever could have been way more streamlined and just a more straightforward story. That works for me, man. Like absolutely, I would watch that movie. Absolutely, just seeing Paul Rudd go to town with a lead pipe works on Michael, where like really works for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, and have him survive and be like, hey, I was there, Laurie. So get them reunited. I think that'd be really, really cool. Well,
especially if he ends up showing up in Halloween Ends.
He would so he won't because he was in Halloween Kills. Remember?
Tommy or Paul Rudd?
Tommy was the one that started the "Evil Dies Tonight" chant. It was
yeah.
The thing it was supposed to be Paul Rudd, but he was filming Ghostbusters Afterlife at the time, so he couldn't make it, which sucks.
That's fine. Well, let's get Paul Rudd in Halloween Ends then.
Yeah, well, they're already done filming, dude. Well,
it's probably he's probably already there. That's what you're telling me.
So, what do you guys think? What are some really bad movie endings that you just thought the movie did not stick the landing at all? And what would you have personally done to kind of tweak the story to make it a little more cohesive or something you like a little better? Let us know in the comments below. We always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to it's on, whether it's iTunes, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year, so we can
talk about Jar Jar.
We can reach our goal. We're making some good headway, but we need your help to get there. So, as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.